How does a grandma build a legacy? Stay tuned. Welcome to this week's edition of Note School TV, episode number 247. Yes, this is going to be a great episode today, and we have a wonderful lady on. Eddie will introduce her in just a minute. So before we do, we're going to take care of a little housekeeping things. And number one, make sure and like this episode. Yep, hit the like button and share this with your friends, your family. You know, our stories are so much alike. I think that we're more alike than different in what we do and what we want to build. So, yeah, make sure and like and share this. Number two, if you haven't already subscribed to the Note School TV channel, go ahead and do that today so that you can go back and see all of the episodes that we have done. And then number three, hit that bell notification. Yep, bing, hit that notification so that you will be notified when we go live. When? Every Wednesday at 11:05 Central Time. Also, if you'd like to know more about what we do at Note School, and there is a lot going on at Note School today, simply go to noteschool.com/TV. Again, noteschool.com/TV. And with that, I want to bring on, our Chief Visionary Officer, founder of Note School, all-around great guy, Mr. Eddie Speed.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. It is a good morning, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
I'm good. We are, we're in a good cycle in the industry. I'm glad to be busy. I am busy.
Yep.
And I know you are too. And you are going to love our guest today, you out there in the audience, right?
Yes,
we're going to have a fun time with this lady and just really a great story. So, Joe, let's get after it.
Let's do it. I'm going to drop off. I'll see you guys at the end of the show. Have a great show, Eddie.
All right. Well, our guest today is a high-end Note School member. I've gotten to know her very well from some masterminds that we've been together at, and really just learned to appreciate her and her whole story. And I think you're really going to enjoy this today. You guys welcome Libby DeRosa.
Hi, Eddie.
You don't look like a grandma, Libby.
That's good. I'm thankful for that.
No, we had a little fun with introducing you because you have now just right around the corner, you have 17 grandkids.
17 grandchildren, 7 years old and under.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we have had a great time with you. And I know that Martha, my wife, has really learned to love and appreciate you. And we kind of say, hey, we got 5 grandkids in 6 years, and you're like, we won't even speak up when you're around, okay? But one thing that I think is very interesting as all of this story has unfolded is you have a mission. And part of that is using this note strategy and being able to build some legacy and pass some things along. So as we progress in that story, we're going to talk about that. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Well, most stories start at the beginning. So let's start at the beginning. Libby, where in the world, what were you doing in real estate before you found us?
I was, back when we first got married, we did kind of the BRRRR strategy before anybody gave it a little fancy name. Didn't know what we were doing, but it was working out for us. Did that on several pieces of property, and then completely stepped away from that when we had triplets, and 15 months later had another surprise. And so left real estate for quite some time. I was a physical therapist, and Tom was an engineer in the plastics and glass industry for the auto world. And then decided we wanted to build a campground. Did that when we sold that in 21. Took some time off and decided to get back into real estate. I was doing private money lending on short-term loans, and then heard about Note School.
So Tom was the engineer. You were a physical therapist and oversaw a lot of other physical therapists. So you were a busy lady
Yes.
Clearly, you have a pattern, Libby, and that is apparently you're good at managing people. Whether you like it or not, you're apparently good at it.
Thank you. Yes. We had I had several therapists, inpatient, outpatient rehab. I was a director over, and then in our business, the KOA, we had around 25 employees for 6 months out of the year. So lots of training every year and a lot of busyness.
So when I listen to your past, you have been involved in things that took a lot of energy and time and effort.
Yes, sir.
You had rental properties. You did the buy, rehab, rent, refi, the Burr model, right?
Yes.
You did that many years ago, which that worked really good a few years ago, by the way. So that was a smart strategy, but it takes up time and energy and all of that, right?
Yep.
Then when you sold the campground, you ended up with kind of a liquidity event with some money, and you plunked that down in some hard money loans. And I have a saying about hard money loans. It is a business loan secured by real estate.
Yes.
Meaning that when you loan the money to that operator, if they're unable to do the work they're supposed to do, it affects the ability for you to get paid back.
That is correct.
And how you planned it, right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, if you get paid off wonderfully in 6 months, then you have to go find the next perfect deal.
Yep.
Instead of buying long-term notes, and you kind of buy a note and just put it to bed and you don't have to worry about it so much. Right?
Yes, exactly.
So a little bit about your campground. You guys had a monster campground.
Yeah, we started out with 105 sites, and over 15 years, we ended up with 164. So we had 5 different expansions, and in the end, we had 22 glamping accommodations, along with the rest being RV sites. So
Awesome.
it was a lot. It was running 18 hours a day, 7 months out of the year, 25 employees. On any given day, there's 600 people in the campground. So by the time winter came, we were pretty tired.
Yeah, that's hard work.
Yeah, it was.
And I understand, because this is what note school people tell us the most. Like, we have a lot of people that come to note school, and they've done, like people in note school are not lazy. They tend to have been willing to work really hard. But willingness to work hard and waking up and realizing, am I working just hard, or am I working as smart as I can work, really becomes the question, right?
Yes, it does. It does. That was the question we asked ourselves.
So that's the fork in the road you were at. Let's talk about that. So why pick notes?
Well, I think with the private money lending, it was exactly the same scenario. It was what we had learned most recently, and it was working out for us. But it was exactly that. Every 6 months, every 9 months, I was having to chase down another new loan. I was having to keep up, making sure that, I wasn't dependent on just them paying me, but then they were dependent on contractors and subcontractors and permitting. And it just seemed like a nail biter all the time. And so when the notes came into being and we started realizing and understanding what that was, I attended one of your 3-day virtual boot camps, and the light bulb kind of went on, like, this is where we need to be. This is going to provide us, it's kind of a flurry of activity for a moment. And then, as I think Ben says oftentimes, it just is kind of boring after that. You're just, I'm watching the bank account on the first of every month go up, and I'm kind of enjoying that.
Well, you have something else that could occupy some of your time. That's called 17 grandkids, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So I want to really talk about that journey a little bit, though. Talk about coming to the class, because I think when people are listening to the audience, they're like, I always say the class is an experience. Do you think that's the truth? Yes.
It was like drinking from a fire hose, but it really just opened my eyes to all the possibilities. And what I loved is, in reality, it's a pretty low barrier to entry to do this. And the other thing is, we've only been in a year, and I would literally say about every other month, you come to the students and you're saying, we've got this new tool that's going to assist you in the process, whether it's buying or selling or managing. And I have so appreciated that because, again, like I said, the barrier to entry seems really low, and that anybody at any age, me as a grandma, can do.
Well, I always believe if you're in the training business, you can't ever late. I mean, we've been training for 25 years, but something's always changing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The market, the opportunity, the situation. And so it's our view at Note School. It's our job to continually cast our eyes out there and look for opportunities or situations or relationships that help make it. So I appreciate your comment, but I just am saying in my mind, that's just what we do. Right.
Yeah.
And I love teaching the class. I've been teaching a class like a lot, like for years. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've never gotten tired of showing people the next creative thing and seeing that light bulb come on. And that's really fun. So I want to talk about the light bulb. Like, what were kind of your biggest takeaways that you got from the class?
Well, I go back to that low barrier of entry, meaning that not only did I realize this is something that we can do, but this is something like I can take my kids and teach them, and they're 30. So I can show them, and they have years to build up retirement accounts or, just cash flow opportunities in their businesses by doing this. So I loved that. And I just love the fact that it is something I can do on the side. It does not take all my time. And it leaves time for family, for travel, for, I think it's Joe LeCount that said he's bought notes as he's flying over the Atlantic. And that's what I love. I can go, I'm heading to Italy in a month and a half, and I can be on my laptop if I want and buy notes.
Yeah. A lot of things that we saw many years ago was students were a lot of people came from kind of the rental property world or fix and flip world. And they were very programmed, and I have to be in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right. And that because Tom's very hands-on. He's a construction guy.
Yep.
Clearly you're very hands-on. You've run all these businesses that took your presence, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Took your boots on the ground. And then all of a sudden you get into this business that doesn't take your boots on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that about it.
So I really appreciate the fact that the best thing I can hear is not what Eddie did for you or even Note School did for you. It's what Notes did for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the real thing. That's like, I'm just a vessel to help people figure out how to do this more efficiently. I'm just a compression of time, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I so appreciate how hard you've worked and what a great businesswoman you are, by the way.
Thank
you. That KOA campground, like Tom made it really clear to us, you ran that baby. Like he had certain things that he really took ownership of and did well. But he says all those 25 employees, they were Libby's. That was Libby's project. And he said she ran them well and they loved her, but she made them work hard and made them do. And that's a lot to that, Libby.
Yeah. Yeah. They always knew when I said, we're going to do something that wasn't a good sign.
All right. So you transitioned, you got into the note space, you kind of became in our community, which I feel like our thing is really a community. Do you agree with that?
Oh my goodness. I've said to Tom and to other people that I feel like I'm with family. When we went to that mastermind, I said it was kind of like we just were invited into your world. When we've been at No Expo, Summer Summit, it was a case of typically you go to those things and the people who are presenting, they're gone. I mean, they're not having dinner with you, and all of you guys are interacting with us, answering questions, just getting to know us as people. And that is very unusual, and has really kind of bolstered my confidence in buying notes, just because I've had that access to you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. That, we try to do special things. Actually, the mastermind we did for charity, right? So that
Yes.
was kind of a special thing. And we brought in this crazy super duper guy in the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
And that was a friend of ours, and he had a heart for this charity, and he donated his time. He's in the daytime, he's one of the biggest influencers in technology in the mortgage industry. So he's like, as he kind of says, I help people that are making $1 billion bets every day, right?
Yeah.
So I like that for us. I like our note school people to feel like, hey, we have got this dialed down that you can go do this on a small one-off basis.
Mm-hmm.
The technology and the decisions that we make and the blueprint, the risk blueprint we try to analyze is the same thing that the biggest in the business do. And that's important to me because, Libby, that is you and Tom's money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you bought some notes.
I did.
What kind of cash flow?
Right now, between my 4 notes, I'm cash flowing $7,000 a month. So I'm very, very happy with that. I attend your deal labs, so I've heard multiple little tips about deciding what my box is as far as what I'm looking for per month from a note. Not always chasing the yield, looking at the ROI, how many years out. And we're kind of utilizing that right now for future money. So we've got a combination of 2 full notes and 2 partials. I did my first pledge this last note that we bought. So that was pretty fun and exciting. And, you're always a little tentative about stepping into the waters of something new. But like you tell us, you just got to pull your pants up and do it. And, you guys are there to answer questions and you did. Last week, you and I had a nice conversation about the whole concept of pledging a note. So yeah, it's been fun. I'm very happy with the cash flow. And so we're taking that, and because it's cash flowing so well, as that builds and then I get another pledge or I sell a partial, I can go out and get more notes. So it's almost like this velocity of money, this machine that's creating income for us like 5 years down the road.
So I want to just take the first 4 notes and exclude borrowing money against the note. We'll talk about that in a second. But I just want to, people get a sense of, like, when I say that a note cash flows probably 3 times at the rate of rentals.
Oh, yeah.
How much money have you guys deployed to buy those 4 notes?
We've deployed, you're making me do math in my head. Right, probably around 550,000, maybe 500,000.
That's pretty close to the normal math. You've deployed $550,000, and to go get $7,000 a month in long-term cash flow.
Yeah.
Any rentals doing that?
No, which is like why. I mean, Tom said to me when we thought about getting back into real estate, he's like, I don't really want to swing a hammer. Like, if I have to, I will, but that's not really where I want to put my energy. And I didn't want to deal with, the old saying, tenants, toilets, and trash. Yeah. So it's kind of like I knew that notes were out there. I just didn't realize that it was accessible for someone like me. And then your 3-a-day event just kind of like opened my eyes to what's possible.
All right, so I'm gonna let you walk a mile, and there's going to be some people in our audience that don't have $550,000 in cash.
Yeah.
Okay. You sold a business. You were looking to deploy your money. You seem to like this better than any other thing that you could have done with it.
Yeah.
Okay. But now, the next 4 notes, maybe you don't have another $500,000 in cash. Whether you do or you don't, that's irrelevant. Now you know how to go use a leveraging strategy so that you can get your money back, or a lot of your money back, in what notes cost.
Yes.
Okay. So you're not stopped at buying 4 notes, even if you ran out of money.
Right.
Because now you start realizing you can build your own bank by using other people's money to fund your note business.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah. Well, I think, I'm looking at multiple things. So if I need to sell a partial off of one of those full notes, I can utilize that. Again, because we're looking at it as money down the road. So it's okay for me to sell 5, 8 years off because I know I have the back end of that note. And so that would give me cash flow.
Let's talk about that. Explain to someone what a partial is.
So if I have well, I guess you can do it on both a partial or a full note, but you're selling off the front end of that note, and you kind of decide how many months you want to sell off and kind of run it through the formula based on yield and number of months sold and interest rate and stuff. And so you can essentially know exactly how much money you're going to get if you sell that partial, and you can know that ahead of time so that you're prepared to say, okay, if I sell that, I can buy a note that costs this much money in addition to. So yeah, that is one avenue for me to do.
So we've got tools built that are pretty easy. You just plug the numbers in Excel and it pops it up and shows you what it is. It even has a graph that shows you how you can see it. You can see the money and stuff. So it's not very intimidating to start doing this because there's just some technology today that does it for you pretty easily, right?
Yeah. And of course, you've got all the training videos on how to use the financial calculators, and you've got the spreadsheets. And now with the new software system for, buying the notes and being able to see what is a pledge, what does a partial look like, that's helpful. Especially, I think people think probably that they need to be this big numbers guru. And I'll be honest with you, despite the fact that I ran all the finances of our business, I'm not a person who loves numbers. I like formulas, and note investing is very much like baking a cookie. If you follow the formula, you'll end up with a good cookie.
That's good. I like it. Yeah. I mean, we don't, there's things that we've tried to help people do so that they don't have to go be you don't have to be Einstein on the board writing out the formula. Right. I mean, you just have to know how to do it. Think about the vehicles we drive today, Libby.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you don't have to, all of them are run with this technology and all this, computer boards and stuff, but you don't have to know all that. You just got to know how to crank it and turn the blinker on and hit the accelerator, right? And the brake. All right. So I want to move to what I think is something near to dear in your heart. And that is, what is your mission? Where are you going with this?
Well, I think that the main part of the mission is to have time with grandkids. It's really been, the Lord has really impressed on my heart that they are our future. They're young, impressionable. They need time with their grandparents. And if I'm working full time, if I'm working 80 hours a week in a business, then I'm not spending time with them. And so that is like a main driver for Tom and I. And this is definitely going to create the opportunity for not just to do that, just spend time with them, but it's going to create opportunity to travel with them. We want to take them like in their 10th or 13th birthday, take them traveling to maybe a national park. This is going to create time and financial opportunity to do that. I want them to be able to go to camp. Their parents are working jobs and maybe they won't be able to afford that. We can step in and we can assist with stuff like that. So Notes is kind of just allowing us the opportunity to be more present and have fun with them.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it's great that you can invest in something that makes really good money and there's leveraging and, you can essentially build your own little bank out of your retirement accounts and your grandkids covered ill educational accounts and all that stuff that becomes really, as I call, making a dollar work really hard.
Yeah.
Making a dollar turn into $100, literally.
And right? I didn't realize how you can utilize your IRAs and your HSAs and Coverdales and do notes with those things. That was another eye opener for me too.
That's awesome. Well, I love your family mission. And I feel like, of course, you got to be friends with Martha, and you kind of see like Martha doesn't put my wife, Martha, she doesn't put herself in a big limelight here, but she's just a few years ahead of you in this.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
You know, you can see it's just it's something that she did for the very same reason, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, we're super blessed. We have good kids that work hard and responsible. But let me tell you, with inflation and stuff today, you know, like if we can somehow be in a position where we can help them or help grow some wealth to the future or things like that, it's just because you and Tom possess this incredible knowledge of knowing how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing I like, because we have kids in the same age bracket as you and Tom do, Martha and I do.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, and you see our kids, they all do something else to make a living, but their investing strategy is notes.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that when we were at the Mastermind, we talked about that a lot. And I think you'll like what you'll find very interesting about this Note School family is you start looking around at all the people that joined Note School, and now they've gotten their kids involved, or in some cases, the kid got involved and they got their parent involved.
Yeah.
Right. It becomes very multi-generational how that can work.
Well, and you know, when I go to the events, the funny thing is that I see other people older than me, you know, in their 60s and 70s doing that. And that was kind of exciting to me that I can still create income for myself until I'm in the grave by doing notes, because they don't require a lot of physical labor. They don't require, a lot of time. And so that was another really attractive thing to me, that, you know, I see these people around me and they're all still doing it.
Yeah. You've seen this. The average life cycle that somebody joins Note School is a pretty long time, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, these people have been, people say, well, why would I stay in Note School? And the thing is, the market does change. We do come up with different innovations. And the truth of the matter is we're a tribe, right? And it's not just the Eddie tribe, it's a tribe. And people, there's a lot of engagement and encouragement and relationship. And it's pretty special. And we're not a cult, but we're kind of a tribe.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. So you have been in a year, you have gone out and done all of these adventures. You're in motion. You kind of got a family plan. You got a note investing strategy plan.
Yes.
Looking back at like what you've learned in the last year, what advice might you give to somebody that is thinking about doing notes or thinking about even Note School?
Don't wait. I mean, especially if you're younger, you have time to really create a large portfolio, and you're not, you know, when I compare it to wholesaling and fix and flipping and how incredibly, I mean, it's not a passive investing strategy, but it is not anywhere near as active as those strategies. And I think you can scale it quicker. You can do more with it. You are just not bound by region and locality with it. And just the depth. A lot of groups have breadth, but not depth. And what I've found in Note School is you have both breadth and depth of materials and training and knowledge and skills, and just the network itself, helping with software and financing and banks and insurance companies, and the list goes on and on and on. So, my thing would be, don't wait. Start now. Start dipping your toes in. Well, I like it. That's what we want to do. And I love your story, your family story. And yeah. Libby the grandma, 17 grandkids. Yes. How about that? It'll be 8 boys and 9 girls. Oh my goodness.
That is so. You got your own football team and baseball team.
Yeah, I have something. I don't know what we call it. Controlled chaos.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Mr. Joe, let's come in here and close us out, sir.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I was reading something the other day, and time is the new asset, right? It really is. We have to have money, but time is really the asset. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I think we're more alike than we are different. We want the same things, right? Spend time with our families, our grandkids, see them thrive, see our kids thrive, and that's the new asset as well. So anyway, Libby, your story, you and Tom's story, it's great, and we love to hear it, and you're an inspiration to everybody out there. So as Libby said, whether you're 25 or you're 75 and anywhere between, you can get out there and do this. You just got to get started. So thanks so much, Libby. And Eddie, great interview. Yep. And so guys, we'll see you all next week, same place, same time, 11:05 Central Time on Wednesday. Have a great weekend. Stay cool, right? And we'll see you all next week. Take care.